Okay, this is an in-service video for the usage of Arthrex's Synergy UHD4 video system. Arise Medical Center was kind enough to let me film this in their equipment room. The goal just being to minimize exposure for everyone. There's no traffic through here, so I knew I would be alone. Anyway, this is a cart just as you guys have. The only difference, the monitor is a little different. Yours is black and a 4K. They chose to go with an HD monitor. Anyway, so this is the cart itself. I'll show you real quickly. It's already powered on, but you would just plug it in as they have done into a medical outlet. Here is the main power switch on the back. I'm now looking at the back of the tower. This to the right over here is where the switch is. I've already switched that on. After about 30 seconds on the control tablet, this screen popped up. As you saw on the front, the color bars appeared immediately. Once you get this screen, which again pops up about 30 seconds later, you go here to the tablet. You can just tap here on the top. It says normal. You hit that. Oops, sorry. Normal on the bottom. It gives you then this screen, which you're able to choose the option here. It says add new case. Not sure if you can see that. So you hit add new case. Then it's a series of drop downs. The top line says surgeon, and as you can see over here to the right, it says those three fields are required: the surgeon name, the procedure type, and the patient information. So here you just do the drop down. In your case, you'll choose Dr. Hall or whatever doctor you're working with. For the purpose of this, I'll just choose the generic surgeon. Then you do a drop down for the procedure type. So you find whichever type you're doing. Usually you guys are doing knee arthroscopies. You do have the option, this laterality option lets you choose left or right. So we'll just imagine it's a left and I'll choose left. You tap into each field for the patient. It does do the first name first, then the last name. I'll just do here, just test for this purpose. Test. If that's the only case of the day, at this point you can hit this start button. If you wanted to log in all of your patients for the day, if you have multiple patients, you can hit save and create a work list. Otherwise you could hit start and get going. If you hit save, that would throw it into this field, and that's your patient work list. As you can see, we have test, surgeon. It would add on more cases as you added them. You could then choose any case that's appropriate for the next / current case by just tapping into it. So imagine there were 8, you would just tap whichever one is next. And that's good because if somebody drinks coffee or a case cancels, you're not stuck in that order. You choose the order. Here that says start, you hit start. It asks you if you're okay, and in other words, if you like this information and it looks correct, you'd hit yes, start. Then you'll get this screen when you're ready and you're live for a case. And it is important, you must enter the patient information and start the case, or else pictures that are captured during the procedure will not actually be saved nor printed. So again, you'll need that patient information up or entered. You'll have to hit start. You'll know you'll get this screen. You'll also, on the main monitor on the front, if you can see, it has the patient information, the specifics. Here it says your surgeon. In this case, we chose surgeon. For your case, it would say your surgeon, procedure type. And then over here, it actually even shows you how the buttons are programmed. It shows you your prints per page. In other words, for this surgeon, it's set at 8 per page, 2 copies. If you had 6 and 3 or 4 and 2, whatever, it would show that very amount there. And this confirms that your printer is connected and is on and ready to print. These other options, if you're a surgeon, which your surgeon does, export to a USB. If you plug one in, it would let you know that it's connected by being blue there. And once it has exported all the images, that blue would go to green. Similar with the iPad if you had an iPad user. All of these items for your tower will be on. And there's no reason really to turn them all off. You can leave them powered on, and that main power switch can turn them all off when you turn off the tower. So unlike a lot of towers, there's a certain order in which you have to do them. With this one, there is not. You just turn on the main switch and that should power everything on. Just like on this cart, you guys have the dual yoke CO2 valve or switch. And so as you can see, that lets you switch to the left or the right tank. It gives you the pressure indicator. Of course, that's contingent of the tanks themselves being in the on position. You should definitely store the cart with these turned off so you're not just seeping gas or wasting it. That's it. And attached, just like you guys have here, is this kind of leash of the tank opener. So you can just keep that, you know, that's just right there for you. So that's that. For the pump, you guys have the same pump. This is our dual wave arthroscopy pump. You just choose it. You can see it's powered on. You choose the joint that you're about to work on. In this case, this is a shoulder, a knee, a hip, and an ankle. So if you're doing a knee scope, you just hit the knee. It goes right to our recommended default pressure setting of 35. For your doctor, he uses both the inflow, this is the inflow side, as well as the outflow. So you'll need both Arthrex tube sets, the one labeled main arthroscopy tube set and the one labeled Arthrex outflow tube set. So for this inflow, this is the release latch. So you would lift this lever, that allows that door to open up. Your tubing, you have the side that is thrown off of the sterile field, which has the little white tab that plugs in here. So you'll first plug that in. When you do so, you'll see it'll go to green, just like that. You have two tabs on this one. There's a green tab, which here you can see there's a green icon to let you know that's where that tab connects. It's a resistance fit, meaning you put that green tab here, stretch it around here, and the clear tab goes here. You push them all the way back till they're fully seated and it's stretched around this tube. Then you shut this door, you switch that latch, and that's it for that side. For the inflow, just like any pump, you do what's called priming for this, simply by spiking your bags, pressing run on the pump, which is right here, and in a basin on the back table, you just run the fluid until all the bubbles are out of the line. So that's it. For the outflow portion, there's a cassette that has a cassette itself with the tube around it. It has a blue tube, a red tube, and a clear tube. What's going to be thrown out of the sterile field into the circulator is the cassette as well as the red tube, and that red tube is going to go into a kick bucket. It can go into a Neptune, but it needs to be on a separate compartment than the items that are actually going to be requiring suction, because this is intended for a passive outflow, meaning ideally it would just go in a kick bucket and be allowed, but some places do want to manage the fluid and not have a bucket spill over, so they will connect it to a Neptune, but to the Neptune portion turned all the way to the very lowest suction setting. And then when you're ready, it will automatically do its thing. This inflow and outflow setup allows your surgeon to utilize, in your case, the inflow and outflow cannulas, and that's to allow that surgeon to have the outflow cannula wide open as well as the inflow, and they don't have to think about it the whole case. They'll just run the case. It will be expelling let's say murky fluid throughout the case out of the outflow and inflowing clear fluid for the purpose of visualization. So that's it on the pump. You'll see here there's an arrow on the screen. This arrow indicates that the inflow is connected, or that it's just an inflow at this portion. Once you were to connect this outflow, you would then see a bottom arrow, almost like a yin and yang, and that lets you know that you have both loaded, inflow and outflow. So that's it for the pump. And just like on this cart, you can slide your shelf back out of the way. This is your shaver box. It says Synergy Resection. It's hard to see, Synergy Resection. As you can see on each side, there are two inputs for both shaver handpiece as well as for foot switches. You really only need to have one connected, and it doesn't matter whether you have the shaver on the top and the foot switch on the bottom. It doesn't matter. It's going to know. If you have one of each, it's going to know that the foot switch is going to control the shaver that you have connected, period. On your RF box, this is super simple. I'm sorry, to back up. On your shaver, once you have connected the shaver handpiece, then you will have the option to click the speed up or down. You can also do that from the foot switch. This is the foot switch, just as you guys have. This is the foot switch. Here, this is where they can step, and the more they press that, the speed goes up, up, up. This pad here, if pressed, is forward. This one is reverse, and there's a ridge here. They step on that to do the oscillate, which is the normal mode for shaving, as far as for a meniscectomy or shoulder debridement, what have you. But if they're using a burr, they would use forward or reverse. That's it for the switch. Okay, onto the RF. So this is our Apollo RF, just like you guys have. This is super simple. The handpiece is just the end of it's thrown off. It's plugged in here. It automatically defaults to the recommended settings, so there's really nothing to do. If the surgeon cares to use a foot switch, connect that foot switch there. And that's it. For your surgeon, there are no foot pedals required at all. He does not like either of the foot pedals and uses hand controls. This is the camera set. This is my trial camera set, but it's just like you guys. You just open up the little clips like that. I've already done the other one. Now this is a little different than you guys set in that here they use what are called C-mounts. They're threaded scopes that screw into the camera. Yours are more this style, the I-cup. So I have in here, for the purpose of this, both camera styles. Either way, this is the interaction of your scope to scope sheath. The scope is like this. This is your scope sheath. In your case, again, you will use the inflow-outflow sheaths that you guys have. What that does is separates the channels of inflow and outflow fluid so that you don't have murky fluid going up the same shaft as is the clear fluid. So the sheath will just slide over the scope or the obturator, and that black dot lines up with the light post. The light post is where the light cord connects, and I don't know if you can tell, it just snapped right in. To release it, you do press this button, and that releases that scope sheath. The same would be true for the obturator, meaning that obturator is going to just slide in to this sheath, and you can just spin it and it'll ultimately lock in. And that's of course how they're going to start the case, because they'll use this to enter into the joint, establish kind of a working portal for visualization. Then they will release the obturator. Of course, that cannula will be inside the knee or the shoulder and will be staying still. So they'll remove this obturator. Forgive me, I'm recording in, doing this, so I've got one hand to work with. The scope will slide back in and you begin the case. So that's how that works. On the lower portion, so this insert slides out, can be lifted out. In the lower portion of the pan, you'll have your camera and your light cord. This is the style of camera you guys have. It has an integrated coupler. So you would simply squeeze these two tabs, drop in your scope, and then let it go, and it's going to grab on and hold it in place. So it'll be kind of like this. I'm going to try and record in and do this with one hand. We'll see how that goes. So you will squeeze your tabs, drop the scope in, and then I let go, and it grabs the scope. So then you're ready to go. Your light cord, I'm not sure why this set does not have a light cord in it, but your light cord would simply push right on to this style of adapter. This is called a wolf adapter. Wolf, that is. It's hard to tell, but it does have a coupling adapter, or what's called a light post adapter. And it's important I show you this because I've been at your facility where this item has been removed for the purpose of sterilization, which is a good thing, but whoever sterilizes it or the tech needs to remember that this needs to be on the light post for our light cord to be able to push on and connect. So in other words, if you're going to connect the light cord and it's not sticking, not holding, that's to say this adapter is missing and you will need one. So if there's not one somewhere in your pan, you maybe need to grab another pan that does have a scope that has that light post adapter. Or if you have some peel pack, that would be ideal just to have readily available in case needed. So definitely will need that. Then, as you'll see, I'm going to plug in this camera head. Excuse me, I've got to fiddle with this. That's a wet cough, not a dry cough. Excuse me. So this camera connector is like this. It's hard to see right here, but this says up right here. It also has kind of a thumb dimple and it just feels correct in your hand. Also, the shape of this is keyed, meaning it has a design that mirrors the insert of this camera. So there's like a little notch here. Hard to see because it's dark, but it has a notch. In other words, it can only go in one way. So if you try this way and it just won't go, really just flip it around and then it's going to plug right in. So just push it all the way in. As you can see now, you have on the screen the option, and in fact it prompts you to white balance. So you will then plug in your light cord. Now your light cord is going to go, and I did get a call about this the other day. Your light cord is going to go right here in this 9 o'clock position, goes right next to this light icon, and it is the wolf one that you want. I tell you that because this can swivel around, so this can be turned. But this wolf, says wolf, needs to be in this 9 o'clock position, and that is where you're going to plug in your light cord. So when you do plug it in, it plugs in, it just pops, kind of wiggle and push, it'll push right in. Again, I apologize, there wasn't a light cord in the set for whatever reason. And then you turn on the light by just pressing that, and that's going to turn your light cord on. At that point, our light cord is blue. As you guys know, that blue will light up almost like a lightsaber from Star Wars. That lets you know, of course, you're getting light. If for whatever reason you're not getting light, or if this isn't, the cord's not plugging in right, that's probably to say, in fact, it's surely to say that somehow one of these other adapter styles were turned to that 9 o'clock position. So again, it has to be wolf. It does have to plug into this 9 o'clock position. That's the hole through which light comes out of the light generator, or the light engine they call it. And then you do hit this to turn it off as standby. So dark is standby, greenly lit means the light is on and should be passing through. That's it. At that point, it would prompt you to white balance. Since I don't have a light cord, it's probably going to give me a red X when I try to white balance. Yep. That actually means it's working correctly, because if we had adequate light and it was something white, we would get a check mark, and then those banners that went away would go away. So now we're live in a case, if you could imagine. So then the buttons would just take a picture, as here to take a picture, and it registers there. It did that slide out. It shows the number here. It also registers here on the tablet. It's hard to see, but there's an image there in that thumbnail. So each time you do that, in fact, now I'm pointing at something else, so it's going to take a picture over here. It beeped. So on the screen up front, it shows a number 2 as far as the pictures. It would have shown 2 slides, and then now it shows 2 images captured. This system automatically prints. So once you've reached your per page capacity that you've set it at, typically 8 per page, 2 copies, or whatever the situation is for that surgeon, it will automatically print the pictures. So you should never, in theory, have to hit the word print unless you're reprinting a previous case for surgeon purpose or surgeon desire, or pictures were lost. But again, it should auto print. That's about it. At the end of the case, you can just disconnect everything. You wait, of course, till all the prints or the pictures are printed. I should show you this right here. If your surgeon uses a USB to export their images, you can just plug it into one of these slots here. One shows a USB icon, one says iPad. It really doesn't matter, they're both USB slots. What you would do is then on the back, over here or wherever you have the tablet positioned, After you've stuck that iPad in, the thumb drive, you hit in case. It says yes to proceed. It's hard to read, but yes to proceed to review. There's this export button. If you had a thumb drive here, this would light up, meaning that you have that option to export to a USB in this case. So you would hit that button, and then it would give you that USB icon. So then you would tap that, and it would export to your USB. What would happen is when you do so, right up here at the top of your tablet screen, you would see a USB icon, and you'd see an open field like a progress bar. It would show you the color blue. It would go from blue to it would slowly fill with blue, and then once it's complete, it would go to green, and that's it. Once you get the green bar, that means you have successfully exported to that USB drive. So at that point, you're done. Really, you just here, you hit finish review. At that point, you just hit finish review, and that's it. You're done with the case. Your pictures will have printed, and you are all set. So you can disconnect anything from the front. You can just go, and once it's printed, just hit the switch and turn it off, and everything will power down. And that is it. Thank you. Feel free to call me with any questions.